Hello and welcome back to Cars of Glasgow. I'm Thomas and today you join me behind the wheel of the Toyota bZ4X. And I want to say a special thank you to Helensburgh Toyota for loaning me their bZ4X. It's an honour to work with them and get a few of their vehicles on this channel. So what is it? The bZ4X is the first mass produced EV built from the ground up by the Toyota Corporation. It shares its platform with the Subaru Solterra and the Lexus RZ that I happen to review thanks to Lexus Glasgow. So if you do like this car and fancy more premium version, check out that review. So let's start off what it is. It's a mid-size SUV, it's got seating for 5, it's got over 450 litres of boot space, and it can come front wheel drive or all wheel drive and automatic only as your option. So pricing for the bZ4X starts off with the pure. As of December 2023, prices are just over £46,000 for the base model, and driving a Motion, which is in the middle, which is around £49,500, and then it's just over £50,000 once you include the metallic paint. And then top end is the Vision trim, and that's a little bit easier to identify because of its larger alloy wheels. And that this particular car, being the mid-level Motion trim, comes with 18-inch alloy wheels, and you can tell it's not a base model because it's got those little spoilers at the back. The mid and top tier ones have those little kind of spoilers, so it's a little getaway clue if you're looking at one of these. Let's get some of the electric stuff out the way. This particular car uses a 71.4 kilowatt hour battery, and because you've got two options, front wheel drive and all wheel drive, the front wheel drive variant has 204 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 7.1 seconds, and in real world driving I've managed to see about 260 miles of range. It does have a claimed just over 300, and I think that's pretty good. The car's averaging about 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour. There is an all-wheel drive variant as well, which is 218 brake horsepower, and that 0 to 60 figure drops to about 6.7 seconds claimed. You're going to lose a little bit of mileage and range in that vehicle, and you'll lose a little bit more again if you go for larger alloy wheels. But I think the front wheel drive is going to be great for most people, especially trying to get the most economy and mileage out your EV. If you're able to charge this car up at a fast charger, ideally 150 kilowatt, then the car's going to be able to charge from 20% up to 80% in around 30 minutes, which is actually quite decent. And that means you're going to get real world, 100 odd miles, 120 miles quite quickly. And I think that's going to be enough for most people. Because I actually googled just yesterday or today that the average person since COVID in the UK does under or around 500 miles per month. I remember it used to be, wasn't it like 12,000 a year we used to do, and now we're doing about 500 miles a month. That is interesting. So if you gauge that with 250 miles real world range, you're probably going to be charging this up twice, maybe 3 times in a month for your average person, which is going to be enough for most people. And the more I drive EVs, the more I'm getting used to the idea of charging these up at home, doing the 3-pin socket, fast charger. I think the secret's going to get a 7 kilowatt home charger if you bought one of these, but I just use the 3-pin socket because I think this is the 4th electric vehicle I've had on test. So now we have those EV stats out the way, let's talk about the aesthetics, the looks. I think it looks quite handsome, it's quite modern. I'm not 100% sure on the kind of grey graphite metallic painted wheel arches. It depends on the spec and the colour, but I think it looks alright in this grey. This particular grey is called Precious Metal, and it's a pearlescent paint. But if you got it say in white or red, those wheel arches stand out a little bit more. I like the fact the front end of the car is quite clean, because it is an EV, there's no grille. We've got nice thin lights, very modern, very fresh, and it is quite distinctly Toyota at the front. And the overall profile of the car, out with its sister cars, the Subaru Solterra and the Lexus RZ, don't really have that kind of boxy but quite ergonomically wind flowy design. I don't know, it's got a bit of a boxy look about it, but you can tell it's got a little aerodynamicness to it as well because of the way the rear is shaped. I think it's quite handsome, it's rugged, and I think it looks a little bit more utilitarian, and you'd probably be quite happy to take this up a farm track, especially the all-wheel drive version. So as we move around to the rear, I like the bar lights, the LED lights built into the units there. You've got the indicators, etc. It all looks very fresh and modern. So there's not too much to say back here. There's no tailpipe, obviously, because it's an EV. And while we're around here, the boot space is great. It's been the mid-trim motion, and up you get an electronically operated boot lid. So with the touch of a button you can open the boot, and that releases or unveils 452 litres of boot space. Ideal for shopping, you know, bags. You can get a dog back here, no bother. It's a really decent sized boot, and there's no lip as well, and it's at a nice load height, so that's the pros for that. And you can close the boot, touch of a button, or on your key fob as well. If we jump into the front of the car, yes, the cabin is quite futuristic feeling inside here. We've got a gauge instrument cluster a little bit further forward than you would maybe think in other vehicles. I like the fact, because it's a little bit higher, it negates the need for a heads-up display. You get used to it. I've only got this car for 48 hours, but I'm getting used to having the gauge cluster a little bit further away and higher up, because I can see my speed. I'd say the one quick disadvantage here is depending on how you adjust the seat height. The rim of the steering wheel can sometimes affect what you see on that display gauge there. But there's a lot of information there, and it slides across just like the Lexus LC. Touch a button and it reveals information like your consumption, sat nav, you can see your settings to turn off the safety system, etc, etc. The steering wheel itself hosts a host of buttons, which are physical buttons, which is nice to see in 2023. You're able to make calls, you can turn up the volume, it's got a voice recognition button, and then your lane departure, adaptive cruise control are on the right hand side here. And it's worth mentioning that adaptive cruise control and lane departure are on all the Toyota bZ4X models, right from the base right up, so that's quite a nice feature. In the middle here we've got a 12.3-inch high definition touchscreen. Toyota call it Toyota Smart Connect Plus. That means it has wireless Apple CarPlay and wired Android Auto. It's really simple and easy to use. Clear, you know, sat nav, which is pretty much the same as what I've seen in the Lexus RZ. I used it the other day to take it up to Stirling. No problems with it at all. So yeah, it's got ergonomics and usability, nice and easy. I like the fact we've got some physical buttons below it. You can even put the heated seats into auto, so let the car decide when to turn the seats on and off, or you can physically push the button and have your free set, you know, go through the 3 stages of heating. We've even got physical buttons for the fan speed and temperature, so that's quite nice to see as well, because you don't often see that and it's not running within the infotainment on a digital screen. Just below that we've got some climate vents, which kind of standard climate vents, and a grey power button, which confused me because I'm so used to seeing the kind of blue used in these products. I guess it's not a hybrid, it is an EV. And we've got the same switch gear for the transmission as the RZ. You push down and twist it left and right for reverse or drive. I do like the fact we've got a host of buttons, such as the one pedal drive. There's a little picture of a pedal and a boot, and that really, as you can experience now, it pulls the car forward and it slows the car down, basically encouraging you to use one pedal driving. We've got a hold button that you would have seen in other Toyota Lexus products. Just means it holds the car at a set of lights when you're stopped to prevent you rolling back. Electronic parking brake. We've got a nice eco button. We've got the 360-degree camera as a button, as well as a snow button and traction control. And if you get the all-wheel drive version of this, you also get the X mode, which is shared with the Subaru, which just is this little button to help with, you know, pushing out the 4-wheel drive system. It's quite a clever system. And below that we have a little pad here for your wireless charging for your phone, and a little USB-A button there for your wired Android Auto. I guess is probably the best place to put that. But down below we've got a little bit of storage just underneath, where you can maybe put a handbag or luggage, and 2 USB-C chargers as well as a 12-volt power outlet. So that's quite handy, you've got all that storage underneath. Now, like my Toyota IQ, this car doesn't have a glove box, which means you get a little bit more knee room out front, but you have lost a little bit of storage that is a little bit of outside out mind, I guess, so you have to lock something away. We do have a centre console here. It's a little bit small for mince pies at this time of year, but you can fit a phone, maybe a vanity case or something in there. And we do have two decent size cup holders, stroke bottle holders here, which even fits the big water test of the Evian bottle, which is nice to see. Also, speaking of water bottle hold areas, we do have nice big flow bins that are quite deep. You can fit a large water bottle in there as well. As you work your way around the cabin, you're greeted with a blend of materials. The dashboard's covered in this, you know, actual fabric. I was going to say nylon, but it's probably polyester or something like that. It's a nice blend, just a soft touch material. It just breaks up the cabin texture wise and visually. It's not like a squidgy rubber. The dash itself is, you know, it's got semi-softness. It's got a little bit of vinyl padding on the door here, but you know what? It's not squeaking, it's not rattling. It's well built. And having owned Toyota products for a few years now, and various ones being, you know, 15 years plus, they're still not rattling. I put my faith in that this car's not going to be rattling in 10, 15 years time. Just when I mentioned 10 years, Toyota offer an up to 100,000 mile 10-year warranty with this car, as long as you get it serviced at a main dealer, and I think that's pretty decent of them to do. It probably shows you a little bit behind how much faith they have in this vehicle, so it's worthwhile keeping that in your head if you're looking at longevity of your EV. An interesting note is this car has electrically adjustable seats for the driver, a little bit lumbar support, and I can adjust it in a few ways, but it is manual for the passenger. And I found that out yesterday when I was transporting my great aunt and uncle in their late 70s, and just trying to move and adjust the seat for them. But they really like the ride height and how comfortable the car is. Now, out on the road, you sit relatively high. I would say probably something comparable to the BMW X3, maybe a little bit higher than the RAV4. It's quite a nice ride height, good visibility out front. The A-pillar's relatively small, you know, you've got a wee quarter window there so you can see just through it, and you feel nice and airy up front. We do have a host of cameras and sensors. As long as you don't go for the base model, you get the 360-degree camera, which helps negate the blind spot you get from these massive seat pillars, because they are a little bit thick, unfortunately. But with the cameras and the sensors, I've had no issues parking this car at any point. And I like the fact this car's on 18-inch wheels, because it's helping the ride. It just absorbs the road pretty well. Nice, soft, you know, any potholes, you know how bad British roads are. It does a great job with that. The steering is relatively direct as well. It's not twitchy, and there's not much body lean in the car as well, especially around these, like, on the A18, so it's quite a twisted back road. And do you know what? It's holding the road pretty well. I maybe had my doubts thinking a front wheel drive, tall bodied Toyota, but it's, you know, it handles pretty well. I do remember the RZ, just the 4-wheel drive, gave me a little bit more confidence around the corners, maybe at higher speed, but you're not going to miss it too much. I think this would be a great, you know, family vehicle, because it's got room for the kids. It's literally got child seat anchors in the back that are nice and easy to locate and put child seat in. You can carry elderly relatives in here, and because it's quite wide and there's no load floor, you're going to get 3, you know, teenagers back there, 3 kids, or you could have 2 and just have the armrest down for a more comfortable experience. If it was me, I would probably go for the motion trim, which is this mid-range one, just because I'm just thinking of the kind of car it's going to be. And I would probably opt for the glass roof, just to open up the cabin a little bit more, because with the tinted windows, it's maybe a fraction dark there. You know, it's fine for me, but I'm just thinking if you're teenagers or slightly younger kids, you might want one through tinted windows. And I think that would help aerate the cabin a little bit. I just like having glass above me, if not a light headliner. It's just a preference for me. I like the colour. This car's finished in precious metal pearlescent paint. Big massive puddle. There we go. Now if I had a GoPro or something, that would be quite cool to drive through, but the weather's awful. So the motion trim comes with things like wireless charging for your phone. It comes with the heat pump, you know, what helps save energy when you're trying to heat the car up, which is a nice feature. Heated front seats, which I never realised the base one didn't have, so that's probably why I would go for this one as well. And it also has the 360-degree camera, so there's quite a few features this car has that are going to be easy for day-to-day livability, and it's not that much more. You're paying say £3,000 more for all these gadgets and systems that are going to make your life a little bit easier. It does have things like the puddle lights as well, which are just a nice to have, but the 360-degree camera I think is going to make your life that much better just for trying to park this car. Now what it competes with, well, I would say things like the Subaru Solterra, if it's in its own family. We've got the I was going to say the Mustang Mach-E, the Nissan Ariya, the Kia EV6, the Hyundai Ioniq 5, Volkswagen ID4. You know, there's the Skoda as well. Like, a lot of manufacturers are now in this segment of mid-size, family-friendly EVs. And I guess you would buy this if you're looking for a car that you're looking for longevity, because Toyotas are typically got longevity and reliability behind them. And you get in here, it just feels like another Toyota product in a good way. You're not got a steep learning curve with, I don't know, like one touchscreen that does everything, including your speed and your wipers and your lights. And you've got stalks, we've got buttons, I've got a gauge cluster in front of me. It's quite easy to get used to. And I think that's important for some people as well. You might be ready for an EV, but you're not quite ready to go full touchscreen and no buttons. And I think this is a nice compromise, because you're getting a larger touchscreen, but you've got buttons for the important things like calls, heated seats, climate control. Then I can change the radio on the steering wheel quite quickly. So that is a nice feature, and I think that's the kind of person who's going to be looking for this. Would I get the 4-wheel drive one? Do you know what, for the range that this offers, being a family friendly, you know, the duties of it, and getting 250 miles real world range is going to be good. 4-wheel drive, I'm in a Gallon Butte right now, but if I lived in a Gallon Butte and I was in a country farm track, I'd maybe look at the Subaru one, just because you've probably got an Outback or something. But Toyota with the 4-wheel drive, yeah, why not? Do you know, get that little, you might lose a little bit of range, but if it gives you that bit of comfort when the weather's like this one's horrible, wet, rainy, yeah, it's going to make life a little bit easier, I guess, when it comes to living with it day to day. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching my video on the Toyota bZ4X. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to Cars of Glasgow below. Special thanks to Helensburgh Toyota again for loaning me the bZ4X. The weather has been a little bit miserable and it's made filming a little bit difficult. Never mind being December and it's dark at like 3 o'clock, but we managed to get through, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions or comments in the car, please comment below, and make sure you subscribe to me on social media. I'll leave all that information below: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, usual places, and obviously YouTube if you are not a subscriber. As always, stay safe and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next video.